I'm just so tired. Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to the channel Football Therapy with me, Osimhen. How are you doing? Well, I hope you are. And welcome back to Chelsea News and the ever-developing, ever-transforming, ever-mutilating drama that is the Chelsea transfer window. Matt Law's written about it on the Telegraph. Diego Simeone offering personal assurances to Chelsea midfielder Conor Gallagher about the desperation to sign him, which is kind of nice because it feels right, doesn't it? Simeone, surely Gallagher, Simeone are just meant to be together in many ways. So it's nice that he's given him personal assurances. Pedro Neto squad number, more on Joao Felix, and more on Osimhen and Lukaku, for this is the ever-evolving transfer saga of the summer 2024 of Chelsea and their rebuild. For unknown quantity, Enzo Maresca to take us into the great unknown for Chelsea Football Club. We're going to win the league, right? Surely that's the only way this goes. Thanks for joining me. Strap yourselves in. Thank you for liking and subscribing and supporting this ruddy content. That's not me hitting you. That's just me being assertive. Baby girl, I'd never do that. So thank you for liking. Thank you for subscribing. And yeah, let's get into it, shall we? it's about time. Alright, Chelsea have confirmed Pedro Neto will wear the number 19 for Chelsea this season. For those of you who give a so-and-so about this sort of thing, I would have liked him to wear the 7. Currently occupied by Mr. Raheem the Dream Sterling. But yeah, look man, 19, we've seen some big players in that before, some goal scorers. So yeah, I ain't got no problem with that. And yeah, I'm not going to spend any more time talking about that. 10, 9, 7. I mean, what other iconic numbers are there? 8, 6. Anyway, Fabrizio Romano has been speaking about the Atletico situation, much of it anyway. Of course, lots of people very, very interested in what's going on with a certain Joao Felix. Dividing opinions somewhat, but I think the general consensus is that, like I've been recently saying, it seems like a deal that would be too good to turn down. He said Chelsea and Atletico Madrid are still negotiating even today, but there is a difference between what Chelsea want to pay and what Atletico Madrid want. George Mendes is still in England. Felix and Gallagher story are still active. There are reports coming from Spain as well, saying and suggesting that the CEO, the CEO of Atletico Madrid is very upset with Chelsea. In terms of things going, maybe originally starting with the Samu Amoradian breakdown, so the transfer was never completed, which of course Letty wanted. And then a difference in valuation for Joao Felix. Apparently they want conflicting reports, 50 million euros, 60 million euros, which, to be honest, before any of this happened, right, before any of these links, before the Gallagher stories and the Samu stories and the Julian Alvarez massive fee and all this kind of stuff, like, let's just say when the last season ended, he was on loan at Barcelona, Joao Felix this is, you'd say to me, Jan, what's going to happen with Felix? And I go, well, he'd probably go out to Barca on a permanent. I think they want him, but, you know, we all know they're broke. But if you said, right, no, he'll probably get sold elsewhere. It doesn't matter, PSG, Saudi, it doesn't seem like a man. He's not really. Man City would be too. It's just, like I said, this is going to be a massive dig to Chelsea, but a bit too sensible to sign Felix. Do you know what I mean? And look, I would like us to sign him because he's fun, he's exciting, and it could be a great deal. But if he told me then, I'd go, yeah, he'd probably get sold for, okay, if Simeone doesn't want to keep him, they spent, 120 million on him, he plays for Portugal, he's playing for Barcelona, they're not going to get that money back. 80 million euros. That's what I'd say. I would have said 80 million euros, 85 million, 80 million euros. And then if you said to me, well, Jan, you know, what if Chelsea could buy him for 50 million euros? I'd be like, ooh, and now I'm listening. But potentially even less than that would be wow, get him to Chelsea. or should I say, Joao, get him to Chelsea, especially with the reports suggesting that he wants to come back, especially with the report saying he'd be more than happy. I added the more than happy, but he would be prepared to lower his wages to fit into the Chelsea wage structure, which is proper nice to hear, isn't it? And yeah, man, it's not like we've got like scintillating abundance of wide attackers that who'd never get into the side for. We've got, you know, theoretical thought exercise, Mr. Potential Mykhailo Mudryk, and, you know, professional, experienced, lots of positive history, Raheem Sterling. That just never worked. It makes sense. So look, George Mendes still in England, still trying to get the deal over the line. Right, let's move on to the next story I've prepared. Alright guys, so this next bit has been circulating on social media quite a lot. Many of you who frequent Twitter or X, possibly Instagram as well, and other social media platforms are available. This source is coming from a guy called Matino. Il Matino? At Matino Nodina, no, Matino di Napoli, excuse me. So it's a Napoli page, bold accounts. I don't know where he sourced this from. It's a well-followed page. I think it's the largest newspaper. Oh, excuse me, it's a newspaper. So I thought it might have been like a Napoli, not like football Twitter aggregator account. My bad. If you translate the bio, the largest newspaper in the south. So it's in a Naples newspaper. Fair enough. It's a source. They are suggesting this, of course, covering the Osimhen and Lukaku story. And this is the headline that's been going around that's getting people terribly excited. Of course, Chelsea want Osimhen. And to get Osimhen on a permanent transfer, this is the deal that's being touted. Napoli would get Romelu Lukaku, Cesare Casadei, who, of course, we got from the Inter Academy a year ago or something, or 18 months ago, I can't remember exactly, and 45 million euros. I must say, sign me up. Because essentially, we're getting... Look, Casadei, we did spend a few quid on him, not anything significant. I think, what was it, like 14 million quid or something? I don't know. And he is, you know, had a good loan at Leicester. He is highly regarded. He was very good for the Italy under-21s when they won that competition. He's the captain. He's highly regarded in Italy, hence Napoli being interested. I don't think he's got a place in the Chelsea first team. So what I'm looking at here is two players. You know, one Lukaku that you're doing everything to get rid of. Casadei was probably always going to go somewhere for a nominal fee. And 45 million euros, which is, what's that, 40 million pounds? For me, that's like, you know, getting a couple of players off your roster that you want to get off. And 40 million quid, have Osimhen. That's how I choose to dissect these optics. I mean, look. Everyone on the comments on X that I'm looking at here is all saying, yeah, friggin' dope, do it. And I must say, I'm inclined to agree. Should we believe this Naples publication, Il Mattino, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, it does seem bloody wicked, doesn't it? Does it? I mean, is this what we want? Is this what we want? I think it's what we want. All right. So Matt Law, football news correspondent of The Telegraph, who covers London-based teams, most notably and importantly Chelsea, writes this. Diego Simeone personally has assured Conor Gallagher that he remains desperate for the midfielder to sign for Atletico Madrid before Gallagher boarded his flight back to London. So it was probably that moment at the airport, like, you know, Gallagher's got his bag over his shoulder, like the woman in a rom-com film about to get back on the plane. I can imagine, like, Simeone running up the escalator, a downwards escalator, running up and going, Conor, Conor. He sort of turns around in slow motion. Maybe his long hair falls out of its ponytail. And Simeone runs up and kisses him. Well, I just asked him to stay and says, look, we do want to sign you. Oh, man. I'm sorry, I'm so tired, man. I think I'm like delirium. Gallagher returned to England Tuesday night with his £33.7 million move to Atletico in limbo following the collapse of Samu Omorodian's switch to Chelsea, of course, which we've been covering meticulously. The Telegraph Sport can reveal the Atletico manager, Simeone, got in touch with Gallagher just ahead of his return to the UK to reassure the England international that he still wants him at the Estadio Metropolitano. I thought it was the Wanda Metropolitano. Anyway, whatever. This season, Simeone wanted to make sure that Gallagher did not return to England in any doubt over whether or not he wanted him, and to make sure that he knows he's highly rated. Gallagher passed his Atletico medical, and contracts between the club and Chelsea were prepared for completion before the move stalled. By the way, guys, Romano's confirmed this on my friends, the Londoners Blue podcast. Chelsea are good to go. They said, look, he's passed your medical, we've agreed a fee, you've agreed contract with him, do it. Push the button, man. Do you know what I mean? It's up to you. If you really want him, he's there. But if you don't want him, he's going to come back and train with us. Obviously, Atleti want to get a player sold before they complete this, right? It's all theory until they get a player out the door. Simeone is now desperate for his club to find a solution and complete the signing of Gallagher, as Atletico try and find a new buyer for Omorodian and attempt to sell Joao Felix, who, of course, has been offered to Chelsea. It doesn't make sense, doesn't it? I mean, Samu can go, I guess, because they've got... they bought Sorloth. I kept saying they bought... what's his face, the other striker, I forget his name, anyway, and they've obviously bought Alvarez as well, so they're fine for strikers. Samu needs to go elsewhere to find a place to go, cash to raise, essentially, and it makes sense. Joao Felix never really, was eye to eye with Simeone. He's not that kind of player, and Gallagher very much is. So you can understand why Simeone's on the blower to Gallagher and, his club saying, get this done. Maybe get Felix to Chelsea, just get it done. The desperation is shared by thousands of Atletico supporters who posted messages with the hashtag Gallagher Rojiblanco, which means Gallagher red and white, on social media. See, this is good. I love Gallagher, and if he goes somewhere who's really wanted and appreciated, he just deserves that, bro. You got so much grief for Chelsea. Although he was loved at Stamford Bridge, got a banner. So, social media is just a stinky place in terms of people being cruel. While Atletico are annoyed that Chelsea did not complete their move for Samu Omorodian that would have allowed them to push through the switch, their frustration from sources is connected to the deal that the Spanish club spent so heavily on striker Julian Alvarez, who cost £81.5 million from Man City after agreeing to sign Gallagher. What? Yeah, you agreed to sign players? You're paying a lot of money for players? Get over it, mate. It's your freaking problem. Gallagher was due to return to Chelsea's Cobham training ground on Wednesday. Hey, that's today afternoon, where he's likely to undergo fitness tests away from head coach Maresca's first team. And that's nothing to be like, that's not like, this will, at this point, it's not trying to push him out, and him agreeing transfers elsewhere. It's, look, we want to keep you safe. We don't want people tackling you. You want this deal done. We want this deal done. It's pointless you listening to Maresca's tactics, sort of cotton wool jobby. Do you know what I mean? It will then be up to Chelsea and Maresca, there you go, whether or not that Gallagher is integrated back into first team training, where he has to join the likes of, or whether he joins Chalobah in the development squad. Okay, so right now he's in neither, it sounds like. Gallagher has been warned that he will not be able to train with the first team after turning down the same contract offer twice if he did not agree to move away from Chelsea last summer. He's, of course, agreed to move away. Other than negotiating with Atletico over Gallagher and Felix, Chelsea are watching the situations of a number of strikers and forwards, including Napoli's Victor Osimhen. Napoli want to sign Lukaku, who's been training with Chelsea's under-21s as well, but Osimhen's wage demands is a hurdle that they will need to overcome. Yes. By the way, man, there is also suggestions from different media publications that Chelsea are looking at other strikers as well. Who these strikers are, I have no idea. People are talking about one of them could be Evan Ferguson. That makes me feel a bit sick. Anything to do with Brian makes me feel a bit sick. But here we are. Right. In terms of a complete dopamine explosion of the brain and senses, signing both Victor Osimhen and Joao Felix would represent lots of excitement. and from the footballing world, especially Chelsea fans, we would have a massive bloated squad. Players would have to go. I wonder if just Noni Madueke to Newcastle would be an obvious one, though I believe Almiron to the MLS has fallen through. We simply cannot go into this upcoming campaign that starts in days with thousands of players, and we will expect outgoings to start falling out the door. And they can do it because they did it last summer and they got crazy amounts of people out the door. So I do believe in that sense. But we move. Let me know what you think, guys. Thank you for hanging out with me and going along for the ride. Of course, the story will keep developing and I will be here giving you the intel, giving you my opinion. So if you like that, you dig it, drop a like, subscribe if you want to, hit the bell if you choose to, scream if you want to go faster. God, so cheesy. Do you remember that as a kid going on like fairground rides? It's probably UK based rather than my international viewers. Scream if you want to go faster. And that's what I'd say as a DJ. All right. See you later.